Superior attack!
Welcome back to Superior Tech, the series that tries to give you all the numbers and information so that you can quickly become a better player and get out there in the Overwatch community. I am Respecugnize, and this is Orisa. So Orisa is really big on safety. That's her thing. So Orisa was actually the first tank that I played and quickly became my main. So I have a special place in my heart for Orisa. So we're gonna go through this pretty quickly because she's really a straightforward tank. There's some tech to her, and you're gonna have to make her your own because she does have some weaknesses. But let's go through the kit. We'll do it like normal: primary fire, secondary fire, if applicable, left shift E, and by that time I'm finished talking and we've gotten some ult. I stumbled through how to use that, and then remember all types of fun things to tell you right before we end that video. So let's start so we can get through this. So fusion driver is on your primary fire. That's this big cannon that we see moving around on the right here. So it is a linear projectile, meaning that it does shoot. It is not hit scan. Those bullets have travel, and boy do they have travel. They do 11 damage apiece. The spread angle is 1.35 degrees, and it is constant. So from the second you start firing to the last round that comes out, you're going to have that 1.35 blossom. So the movement speed is going to change you to 2.75 meters per second. It's just the way it is. It hurts my heart every time I try to move and fire with this character. The projectile speed is 80 meters per second. The rate of fire is 12 rounds per second, and there's 150 ammo in the magazine, as you can see in the bottom right hand corner. So the reload time is 2.5 seconds, which is forever in this game. It's the other thing that hurts my heart. I don't know why Orisa does me so wrong. So it can headshot, and we'll just go ahead and fire those off here. And so we can see that blossom. Here's the reload. Yeah, you will die. You will die. So here's the blossom. As you can see, that's that 1.35 degrees, but it's all in that one circle. It's not going to have a huge spread. We'll just go ahead and empty the magazine. Alright, so you can see that that's your MOA. They're all going to be in that circle. But those bullets are traveling relatively slow. You'll see this if you ever try to go up against a Pharah or a character that's far away, but we'll get to that when we get into the firing range. So on alternate fire is Holt, and that is really what we're here for. So Holt is also a linear projectile. It has a speed of 20 meters per second. The area of effect is 7.5 meters in a circle. The casting time is 0.3 seconds. That's the frame delay. And there's a 0.6 second activation delay after you fire it. So the cooldown for that is 8 seconds, and we'll fire this off, but we're really going to have to go down to the firing range to see its full effect. But we're going to fire it off. You're going to see the 0.3 seconds on casting time. The 0.6 second activation delay is probably not going to show up on this, but we'll go ahead and fire it. There you go. And that is what Holt does. It's going to move whatever you fire it at, whatever is in that 7.5 meter radius when you let it go for the 0.6 seconds, or when you hit the secondary fire again to activate it, then it's going to tether and pull. And so we'll take a look at that. We'll come back to it. So on your left shift is Fortify, and it is a self buff. The damage reduction is 50% of damage, the duration is 4 seconds, and the cooldown is 10 seconds. So let me go ahead and give you a list of abilities that deal damage to Fortify but will not stun, knock back, or do anything, because that's the other thing about Fortify. It literally makes her invulnerable to a lot of effects. So you cannot be sleep darted. The rocket flail from Brigitte will not put you back, and let me be more specific. Anna's sleep dart will not put you to sleep. Brigitte's rocket flail will not boop you. Diva's boosters will not push you. That's when she boosts into you with her left shift. The self-destruct and the call mech will not push you out of the way. Doomfist rising uppercut, the seismic slam, the rocket punch, and the meteor strike will not do any type of movement to you. The frag launcher, the concussion mine, and steel trap from Junkrat will be ineffective. The sound wave or boop from Lucio won't work. McCree's flashbang, May's endothermic blaster, and blizzard, both of her things that freeze you, will no longer freeze us here. McCree's flashbang won't go off. Farah's rocket launcher, which is her primary, as well as her E, which shoots out a little rocket that boops you. And boop is a term that we use in Overwatch for anything that pushes you. Those also won't work. So the Reinhardt with his hammer, when his primary fire that swings around, it will no longer push you. The Earth Shatter will not knock you down. Roadhog's whole hog will not push you. The Helix rockets from Soldier 76 will not get their mini boop. It's a very small boop from those. Symmetra's sentry turrets will no longer slow you down. Winston's primal rage melee attack, which is his punch on his primary, it changes. That won't boop you, and his jump pack when he lands won't do it anymore either. So the Wrecking Ball, which is our new hero that does a lot of booping. The Grappling Claw, the Pile Driver, and the Minefield will no longer affect her. The Particle Cannon boop, which is the secondary fire on Zarya, won't do anything to you anymore. And so you can also not be halted by another Orisa, and the charge from Reinhardt will no longer pull you, as well as the Roadhog. And at the end, I'll go through that list a little more linear, because I'm actually doing it from memory. So that is what you're going to do whenever you get into a oh crap moment. Really is going to be your fortify, and that's the magic of Orisa, the timing. So let's go with the rest of why you will need an Orisa on your team, and what maps specifically you'll use. So on E, we have the protective barrier. It is an arcing projectile. The health is 900, the duration is 20 seconds, and the cooldown is 8 seconds. So basically it is a grenade that she throws, and when it hits the ground it makes a arc shield. So it is the moving shield that you hear me talk about whenever I'm doing any type of commentary on one of my games on Twitch. So you just simply press E, and she fires that, and so you see it is an arc. It is three-dimensional. We're standing in it, and it wraps around. Over the reticle there, you can see the 900 health, and of course the time is ticking down on it. There is no timer on it. You just kind of have to get a feel for it. Typically with these shields, you're going to find that you are going to have plenty of time to get up another shield. It is a very small window that your team is going to be vulnerable, and unless you're getting focused, it's really not going to matter. Well, I say that it's not going to matter to you. It may matter to what's behind your shield during composition, and that's where most of this video is going to be in, because Orisa is a team player. So we do have our ult up, which is supercharger. So we're going to move down here, and we're going to go through some basic stuff. Let's take some shots at these guys, and we'll kill two birds with one stone. We'll put up the shield. So you see the shield's going to stop them, and let's get some shots off. As you can see, it takes a relatively long time, even with headshots, at 11 damage per shot to do damage. That is why you have 150 rounds in your magazine with her, I suppose, although that 2.5 second reload is killer. And as you can see, that shield's been up. There, we have enough time, and based on the damage of most things firing at it, you're going to have enough time. See, we're not close to death there. We still have shield. We'll just fire another one. Okay, so Holt is the big one, and since these guys are running around, this will give us a chance to look at it. So Holt is a big part of the kit for Orisa. you're going to have to do a lot of thinking when it comes to her. And that is probably why I stuck with Orisa so long and why she is a favorite character of mine, is because she has the ability to carry teams. She has the ability to lock things down. She has the ability to get the win almost by herself with very little support, because she does have some survivability with that left shift with that fortify, because it basically stops the kit of almost every one of our enemy heroes that we're going to run across, and it gives us some survivability in addition with that shield and the fact that you can halt to stop progress. So we're going to look at halt timing here. I'm just going to fire it there. You see that tether that came out of there? We're going to get another one, but you're going to see a little stream that's going to come out of the ball. That's showing you the area of effect for that halt. Let's see if we can get multiple. So it's going to pop up right there. Okay, so what I did right there was I actually activated the halt myself, which is that right click again on the right mouse button for us PC players, or alternately you can just let the ball hit the ground and it's gonna automatically activate if it gets stopped by anything, a wall, an immovable object, anything, floor, and that sort of thing. So that's gonna be your learning curve for Orisa, is timing this and trying to get maximum effectiveness out of that. So the halt is able to do a lot of cool things. For instance, you can do let's see, I'll be able to get this one. It didn't quite pull him over, but as you can see, what happened was it pulls to the center of the ball. So things like Ilios Well, Eichenwald, well, that would have been a death if this wouldn't be there. Eichenwald, anything that has bridges, you can time that where you shoot the ball. Basically, it has to be within 7.5 meters of the death that they're going to get, because you need an I almost said occupational hazard. You need a environmental hazard to pull them into, but the enemy hero has to be within 7.5 meters of that ball so that it can pull them off the ground and into the environmental hazard that's going to give them the kill. So between the barrier, this halt, which is great for things, I use it a lot of the times to time a Reinhardt, because the Reinhardts, a lot of aggressive Reinhardts are going to try to get those charges. And I'll be honest with you, once you're on top of Orisa, she has almost no survivability once she gets focused, or once you have an enemy that's on top of you, just because I would think that her rate of movement is not any different than other characters as far as this, and I hope I'm not making anybody motion sick. But because of the size of the gun, I find that there is a little more difficulty with getting the gun to bear on someone who's moving fast and on top of you, like a Symmetra or a Mora will like to do with their beam weapon, or a Winston will like to do because they're going to jump around and things like that. So characters that tend to try to get behind you and move a lot because they don't have to worry about tracking, because those are three characters that auto track. I find that it's very difficult to get this gun to bear on them because of the size and her movement speed. I think, don't quote me on the movement speed thing as far as how she moves, but that and the relatively low damage at 11 per bullet and the rate of fire, that's where you're going to run into trouble. And then if you have characters like Pharah, where they're very far away, we'll take a look at it. Let's get here and fire at that. See those bullets? See, as we're moving, you see the line for those bullets. Let's see, we'll put it on something darker. You see the spread as we're moving? That's about the movement rate of a Pharah. She can move about that fast. But look where our bullets are going, and if we go faster, they space even more. This is like firing a fully automatic weapon in real life. It's not very effective because the spacing between the bullets gets so wide as you sweep a weapon that your targets can be in between. So to effectively get multiple hits on a moving a moving Pharah, especially if she's far away, or a Mercy that's up, you have to move relatively slow to keep those bullets together, right? Because you also have that 1.36 degree spread. Because of that, you're typically going to be behind the Pharah as she's moving, and if she moves back, up, or down, you'll have to readjust. And look, see, as I'm snapping there, it goes from those bullets being very close to now you can, as I'm moving this, you can see those big gaps that are forming, right? That's part of the rate of fire of the gun, and there's just not much you can do about it. It also has some effect on characters that are moving quickly on the ground, like a Genji or, of course, a Tracer when we talk about ground speed. But at least on the ground speed, you have the Halt, and so I'm going to show that technique again because I did it without talking about it. But basically, when you can time your Halts, you know where they're going to be, right? So we're going to Halt them right here, and we're already firing in the middle. And of course, that's a bad thing. We'll move it around so that we actually get the hits. But let's Halt into right there, and we just automatically can go to that. Now, I found on the bots here, this is the first time I tried to Halt a bot, it's hitting the ball and they stop at the end of the balls. With enemy heroes, I do not find that it does that. Whenever I Halt an enemy hero, it pulls them into the middle, very much like Zarya doing her Graviton Surge. It pulls them very tight, and it does not stop them because they touch each other or they touch the projectile. So playing her effectively, you're just going to have to do a lot of thinking about where the enemies are, where they're going to be, and where you can put them. And then knowing that it takes a long time relatively for those bullets to get anywhere, so you have to lead the target more than some of the other linear projectile characters, and of course way more than a hit scan, because there is no leading on hit scan characters. Alright, so that's going to pull us to our ult, which is Supercharger. So the Supercharger itself is it's an object. It's a little bongo, and I'll shoot it at a second after I give the numbers. But the bongo itself has 200 health. It has a damage increase for everyone in the area of effect of 50%. The area of effect is 25 meter in a circle. The casting time is 1 second. The duration is 15 seconds, and it takes 1,487.5 to get there. Orisa builds ult at 1% every 3.5 seconds. So what we'll do is we'll just drop it here. She just drops it, and it's going to tether. It will tether your whole team, and you'll have the damage boost, the upward moving blue arrows that you see when you have a damage boost coming out of a Mercy. And so during that time period, your team is just allowed to wreak havoc willy-nilly because it's increased their damage output by 50%. Okay, so the damage boost will stack with some other things. So Ana's nano boost and Mercy's damage boost will also stack with it. So it is a great time to get your support ults in there for your no, I'm sorry, not your support ults, but it's a good time to have your support normals come in from your Ana for her damage boost. That is, the nano boost is her ult, but Mercy's damage boosting tether, which is her secondary fire, it's a great time to get that in. It can also be hacked by Sombra, so you have to protect it from her. She can hack it, and it will stop the boost from going off. Okay, so that's gonna be her in a nutshell. It's difficult. I was thinking, is there more that I need to say? But there really isn't. There's a lot of finesse with the character, I'll tell you that, because everything with her is about timing. The gun has to lead the target, so you have to know the relative speed. So there's also vector there, because you have to know the direction and the relative speed. And as a character is farther away from you, because this is simulating a 3D environment, that target is going to be smaller. So the movement rate is going to be different. And then when you get into characters that have speed buffs and boost, like a Lucio, Amora during fade, rocket punches, seismic slams, and the uppercuts from the Doom Fist, Tracer of course with blanks and rewinds, Genji with his slash, Hanzo with lunges and things like that. I will note that unlike those characters, even though you have 4 legs, and this is she plays with puppy, even though you have 4 legs, Orisa is pretty slow. Uh, she's a very slow character. As we can see, her walk speed is not as high as the other characters. It's slightly slower. It's something that you notice as you play her more and more, that you just don't seem to be able to move as fast as other characters, even though you have 4 legs. I don't know what that's about, but it is what it is. So it's a character that, as much as I would like to help with the learning curve, it's very difficult because you're really going to have to play her to get a feel for how much you have to lead with the gun. You're going to have get a feel of hold timing once again, because you have to look at firing the Holt where you want them to end up, but at the same time you have to fire the Holt as close to them as you can get it, because once they get out of that 7.5 meter that tether range, and we'll shoot it across, maybe if we shoot it across these two we can kind of see it. So we're gonna fire this just across, and you see that tether. You're gonna have to take that into account, and then at the same time you have to be thinking about how much time is left out of the 8 seconds for your cooldown, because the shield is going to stay up. See, we're past the 8 seconds on the cooldown, so we can just put another shield up right away. But you have to be looking at the health, and of course, I don't know if I've shown it on other characters. You do not. The health is not on the shield. It's actually in your user interface. So you have to be thinking constantly, and you have to be doing calculations, which is why she's a high risk, high reward character. I also realized that I actually never showed the fortify. So if you just left shift, you're going to get this overlay, the green. You are gold. When people look at you, you're going to be gold, but your interface is going to have that greenish yellow golden glow at the bottom to let you know that you're in fortify. Okay, so let me go through that fortify list one more time. But I mean, basically it stops everything. Anything that would move or stop you from moving is going to be stopped with that fortify. But we'll go through that list again. On a sleep dart, Bastion's tank mode when he's firing off those rounds, Brigitte's rocket flail, D.Va's boosting her self-destruct, and her call mech, because what most people don't realize is that the call mech, when it drops, it goes from baby D.Va, which is the little skinny human Korean girl D.Va. Once her mech drops, the mech takes up that space, and so it actually does have a boop effect. It will push. The fortify can be used to block line of sight for other heroes. I'll put that in there too. So a self-destruct, a earth shatter, anything that has a actual blast radius, any character that is between, that you're between with a fortify, will stop that from hitting them. So let's finish off that list. Almost everything from Doomfist, so the Rising Uppercut, the Seismic Slam, the Rocket Punch, and the Meteor Strike. Junkrat's Frag Launcher, the Concussion Mine, and the Steel Trap. Lucio's Soundwave, May's Blaster, and the Blizzard. McCree's Flashbang, Farrah's Rocket Launcher, and her Concussive Blast. Reinhardt's Rocket Hammer and his Earth Shatter. Roadhog's Whole Hog and his Hook. Soldier 76's Helix Rockets, Symmetra's Turrets. Winston's Primal Rage, primary attack, and his Jump Pack. Wrecking Ball's Grappling Claw, the Pile Driver, and the Minefield, and Zarya's Particle Cannon and her Graviton Surge. Orisa's Holt, and I think that's it. Now Sombra can still hack a Orisa while she's in Fortify, and the cooldown for your Fortify does not start once you activate Fortify. It activates once it ends. So that's going to go down, and now we see the 10-second cooldown. So there's more timing for things. So Orisa is also one of those characters, and the timing is tricky on this. And as you can see, it's timing. She is capable of doing the body block that you hear me complain so much about in games, especially competitive. where it is a tank's job to get between danger and the squishies. And so, since a lot of ultimates are affected by line of sight and barriers, such as that Earth Shatter from Reinhardt, it is important for an Orisa, while she isn't as mobile as the dive tanks like the Winston and the Diva, those flex tanks. You do have to be able to clutch situations where you drop a shield, and you're watching your flank and you're using fortifies to stop those. So I do realize that we still have a lot of other characters to go back through. We took the 2 weeks off so that we could get the affiliate level on Twitch. So we have a lot of things to go back because there have been patches and there's been minor changes. Still trying to figure out if I'm going to do the video based on just like each character going back. The big updated characters, they'll have to have their own videos, but we'll probably figure out a way to do the smaller changes that have gone on characters like Doomfist. He's had a lot of little minor changes that all add up, and things that you'll notice if you played them and you've taken a time off or you take a break during your competitive seasons. So I do realize that. Don't yell at me about that, but yell at me about any mistakes or errors or things I left out, and I will go do amendments to the videos. I promise. You just have to be patient because I'm not the best at the game. I'm just trying to get there. Have fun, guys.
Respecugnize game when I get on the move. Respecugnize game on Twitch and YouTube. Respecugnize, we the cool for the new and old school. I'ma show you how to do it when I do it so smooth. Respecugnize the truth. Respecugnize the new online game time.